Ever thought about how the moon being in space affects our lives? Do you know what's up with the dark side of the moon? And did you hear NASA found ice on the moon? Stick around, we're gonna chat about these cool moon facts. Plus, we'll show you how all the planets in our solar system look, scaled down. Welcome to our channel. I'm Victor. And I'm Anderson. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll know when we upload a new video. So, NASA found ice on the moon not too long ago. They used the SOFIA telescope, which is on a Boeing 747, and found traces of frozen water in the Clavius crater. It's a tiny amount though, less than what you'd find in the Sahara Desert, but it still matters for future space missions since water can make oxygen and hydrogen, which can be used as fuel. The last time people went to the moon was in 1972 during the Apollo 17 mission. It took about 3 days to get there. The Apollo missions put humans on the moon, and they all took around 3 days. The moon is more than 384,000 kilometers from Earth. To put the distance into perspective, let's scale everything down. If we shrink Earth down to the size of a tennis ball with a diameter of over 12,000 kilometers, and the moon to about the size of a marble, we get a better idea of how far away the moon really is. Remember that it took astronauts 3 days to get there? The 384,000 kilometers that separate Earth and the moon would now be 2.5 meters apart. You can see that they're pretty far from each other. A lot of people think the moon is closer than it is. That's why it's such a big deal to travel there.
Can you believe how little tech they needed to get Apollo 11 to the moon in 1969? Crazy, right? And the Apollo 11 computer had barely more than 4 MB of RAM and only 0.043 megahertz of processing power. Want to know what that means? Your smartphone with 512 GB of RAM and 2.4 megahertz processing power is 100,000 times more powerful than the computer that took humans to the moon. There were 11 Apollo missions over 3 years with 12 guys stepping on the moon. But what did the moon landing really change in our lives? Well, the shock absorber tech created to stabilize Apollo's fuel pipes led to earthquake-resistant building technology, and those silver thermal blankets athletes used to regulate body temp, they were made to protect astronauts in space. Even modern heart monitors, used in hospitals everywhere, were first developed to track astronauts' health. But what about that NASA pillow?
So there's this foam, right? The viscoelastic kind that they used in spaceship seats. Then in 1976, the patent became public, and a bunch of companies started using it in their stuff. Naturally, the NASA pillow got in on the action too. Okay, so we compared Earth and the moon. Let's do the same for other planets. So we got Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars here. Then there's Jupiter and Saturn. Don't forget Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Yep, we've got all the planets in scale here for you. Jupiter's the biggest one, and it's like twice as massive as all the other planets combined.
Hey Victor, what about the Sun in this scale? Oh man, we'd need way more space for that. The Sun's diameter is 1,392,700 kilometers. In our scale, it'd be over 9 meters tall. It's huge, like you could fit 1,300,000 Earths inside. So which one's the tiniest planet? Well, until 2006, Pluto was considered the smallest. But then it got demoted to a dwarf planet. Its diameter is 2,370 kilometers. It's even smaller than our moon, which itself is 7 times smaller than Earth. So out goes Pluto, and in comes Mercury, now holding the title as the smallest planet, with a diameter of just 4,860 kilometers. Mercury is seriously close to the Sun, so let's learn about how hot it gets. But first, let's talk about the Celsius scale, used for temperatures. At 0 degrees it's icy cold, and at 100 degrees it's boiling water. On this scale, our body temperature is around 37 degrees Celsius. The Sun's crazy hot, more than 5,000 degrees Celsius, and Mercury can get up to a scorching 430 degrees Celsius. It's so hot, it can melt lead. Meanwhile, Earth's average temperature is a comfy 15 degrees Celsius. But even though Mercury's so close to the Sun, it's got shady spots that stay frozen. Our moon's got an average temperature of 106 degrees Celsius. On its bright side, but on the dark side, aka the far side of the moon, temperatures can drop to minus 170 degrees Celsius. The whole dark side thing isn't really about the lack of light. Both sides of the moon have day and night. It's more about the side of the moon that we never see from Earth. This is because of something called synchronized rotation. The time it takes the moon to spin around its axis is the same as the time it takes to orbit Earth. So we only ever see one side of the moon. Okay, but is the moon drifting away from Earth? Yep, it's moving away at a rate of 3.78 centimeters per year. The moon and Earth are sort of locked in a gravitational embrace. And the friction between Earth's surface and all the water on our planet causes Earth's rotation to slow down a bit. This makes the moon speed up, which in turn pushes it away from us. So the days are getting longer? Yeah, but it's only by 0.02 of a second per century. So, did you enjoy our scaled-down solar system and all the fun facts? Totally. Now for a word from our sponsors. We'll keep making these awesome videos for you, so don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on notifications. That'll really help us out. See you next time.